The Norfolk Public School District's Board of Education meeting is called to order. Roll call.
Terry Bauer. Cindy Booth.
Present.
Brenda Carhart.
Present.
Lindsay Dixon.
Present.
Beth Shashikant.
Present.
Sandy Wolf.
Present.
All members are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. This is a legal meeting of the Board of Education as advertised by the means specified in board policy. A complete copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the boardroom for your review. A copy of the agenda is available at the desk of the recording secretary. We will begin with information and discussion items. 3.1, Finance and Facilities Report. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. This is the first month that we are doing claims twice a month. So this is our second claims for the month. By specific fund, they are General Fund, $211,744.86. Nutrition Services Fund, $274,763.69. Cooperative Fund, $131,600.39. Subsidiary Fund, $16,519.90. Special Building Fund, $63,060.00. Senior High Activity Fund, $50,075.42. Junior High Activity Fund, $800. These claims were reviewed by the Finance and Facilities Committee previously.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. We are to consent agenda. 4.1 is personnel, and we have contract approvals. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. I only have one contract for your consideration today. That is Barbara Richardson, a K-6 English language learner teacher who will be at multiple buildings. At this point, it looks like it would be Washington and Norfolk Middle School, but until we have our final numbers in the fall, we're not sure where that exact placement will be.
Thank you. And our resignations, Dr. Thompson?
Unfortunately, we did have several last-minute resignations, and some of them will be very difficult for us to fill, starting with Denise Bender, orchestra director, who will be retiring. Allison Flynn, school psychologist. Stephanie Goodrich, behavior specialist. Jessica Henrich, second grade teacher at Washington Elementary. Alexa Moreno, ELL teacher, Norfolk Junior High. Danielle Steinkraus, preschool teacher at Little Panthers Preschool, and Catherine Steskell, special education teacher at Norfolk Junior High.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. We do really want to thank all of these teachers for their service, and especially Mrs. Bender, who's retiring. She's been with us many, many years, right? Okay, and claims 4.2.
The claims are attached for your review, and there are 2 conflict statements that will need to be read before voting.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second the motion.
We have a motion by Beth and a second by Brenda. Is there discussion?
Why the behavioral specialist and psychologist resigned?
Yeah, the behavior specialist was only working very, very part-time, I think like less than 1 day a week, and has decided that that's even too much for her. And the school psychologist has been traveling, I believe, from Yankton, and just doesn't feel like economically or financially it's best for her. We tried to work it out, but we just couldn't come to terms given our contract or our negotiated agreement.
Out of an abundance of caution, I hereby declare a potential conflict of interest and am abstaining from voting on claim number 129 for the month of March in the consent agenda for this meeting. I have signed and filed this written disclosure with the Secretary of the Board. It is my intent to vote on all other remaining items listed on the consent agenda. My vote on the remainder of the consent items should not be taken as a vote one way or the other on the items which I have identified or any of the matters set forth therein or related thereto.
Out of an abundance of caution, I hereby declare a potential conflict of interest and am abstaining from voting on claim number 126 for the month of March in the consent agenda for this meeting. I have signed and filed this written disclosure with the Secretary of the Board. It is my intent to vote on all other remaining items listed on the consent agenda. My vote on the remainder of the consent items should not be taken as a vote one way or the other on the items which I have identified or any of the matters set forth therein or related thereto. And this was for Beth and I to go to the financial workshop in Lincoln.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Callan. That brings us to action items. 5.1 is to discuss, consider, and take action to approve the resignation of Brittany Young, effective at the end of this contract year. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. This resignation is separate from the consent agenda because it came in after the March 15th deadline. However, I do recommend that the board accepts it due to extreme extenuating circumstances. Because it's a personnel issue, I can't go into detail in public session.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Brittany Young effective at the end of the contract year due to extreme extenuating circumstances.
Second the motion.
We have a motion by Cindy and a second by Brenda. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Callan. 5.2, discuss, consider, and take action to grant permission to seek RFPs for auditing services. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. The district will be seeking an RFP for auditing services to have our annual independent audit of the finances conducted. Just looking for permission to put that RFP out today.
I'll make a motion to grant permission to seek RFPs for auditing services.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Lindsay and a second by Beth. Just for clarification, we learned in the finance that the current auditing company has chosen not to audit schools any longer. So that's why we're putting it out for bid to find a new auditing company.
And technically, via state statute, we don't have to go through the RFP process for professional services, but we found this is the best way to get the best deal, is to go out and seek bids.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Callan. 5.3, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2024-2025 through 26-27 superintendent contract. After executive session, it is recommended that a 1.52% total package increase and contract is approved for the superintendent for 2024-25 through 26-27. This is a salary increase of $3,385, which is the same amount given to all administrators in the district. The contract is attached.
I'll make a motion the 2024-25 through 26-27 superintendent contract.
Second the motion.
We have a motion by Beth and a second by Brenda. Is there any discussion?
I just want to note that the superintendent contract and Schedule D has been published on our website in order to meet all of the requirements in the Superintendent Pay Transparency Act.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Please vote.
Motion carried 4-2.
Thank you, Callan. That brings us to future meetings. Our next meeting is the regular meeting of the Board of Education on Monday, April 8th at 5:30. All components of these meetings will be held right here at the Norfolk Public Schools Central Administration Offices and will be open to the public unless an executive session is needed in order to protect the interest of the district or the reputation of an individual. With that, meeting adjourned. Please drive safe.